Another sunny day, but some haze in the sky. Wonder if there was a fire around the area anyways. And what did I read today? How about this one? Apparently it says here, Nokia is getting serious with things like drones and so forth. This one says, Nokia goes from phones to drones with Swiss service rollout. There was a lot of news before about drones, for example, just using telecommunication networks in order to be able to fly and communicate, I guess, further away and all that. It says Nokia has hooked up with telco Swisscom Broadcast on a drone as a service network across Switzerland, aimed at the emergency services and other applications where aerial observation is required. The Finnish networking biz says its Nokia Drone network service comprises 300 drone-in-a-box units that will be deployed across the country, letting clients request a drone flight without having to own or operate one of the aircraft themselves. That's kind of interesting to think about just in terms of licensing and all that too. So could technically someone just request for this, say, I want this drone to do this type of job, and they don't need any of those, I guess, certifications or training? According to Swisscom, it will be offering 3 drone services initially as part of this drone network launch. One is for the emergency services to help them respond to incidents such as accidents, fires, or crime scenes. The second is infrastructure inspection, with the units working to improve the safety of workers maintaining power lines, bridges, and buildings, for example. Number 3 is perimeter protection, using drones to monitor public spaces, prisons, borders, or even military facilities. That's kind of interesting on its own in terms of being able to do those types of work, because I would imagine things like military sites or prisons, it's considered, for example, high risk, high security, if that's what you want to say. Nokia says that each drone in a box features the drone itself, a docking station, a ground control station, a payload with video and thermal cameras, related software, and service components. The solution uses 4G, 5G wireless connectivity for data collection, and Nokia claims its industrial-grade drone is certified with the relevant authorities for beyond visual line of sight operations. It's kind of interesting too, as here they inquired how much it costs to use the service, and they said they don't disclose that, so you can imagine it would be really expensive. But either way, a lot of places using these drone-in-a-box solutions, again, it's kind of interesting to think about just in terms of whether or not people like that can bypass all of the regulations in terms of them having to learn how to use it themselves. And how about this one? This one says, scientists in bid to teach drones how to swarm like bees. Autonomous miniature drones can mimic insects to accomplish tasks ranging from finding gas leaks in factories to search and rescue missions, according to research by Dutch scientists. At a facility called the Swarming Lab, researchers at the Delft University of Technology say they aim to put a self-flying swarm of 100 tiny drones in the air, able to perform around-the-clock tasks. This included the drones landing by themselves on recharging pods and taking off again to continue flying, without humans ever having to get involved. I guess that would be kind of an evolution of that previous story, for example, eventually anyways, where we have multiple types of drones and sizes to do tasks automatically. It says we are working not only to get these robots to be aware of one another, but also work together to complete complex tasks. And it's kind of interesting here too, because according to this, they'll put some kind of, I guess, sensor there to determine things like gas leaks, for example, saying a swarm of autonomous drones fitted with the sensors to detect the gas will be able to fly autonomously around the factory until one drone detects traces of gas. It will then follow the scent of the gas while calling the other drones to help in search using onboard sensors. In the same way, drone swarms can also be used to detect forest fires or continuously help in search and rescue operations over large areas. Now, so that's kind of interesting, I suppose. Can you imagine something like this just in a regular house or a building to determine where the source of the fire is, for example? I can easily see that actually being a thing for things like the fire department and all that. And this was a crazy piece of news. You just heard the other day, there was that story where platforms like X, people like Elon Musk and more, they were suing, I guess, this media company for what they allege were doing things illegally in terms of boycotting certain platforms, for example. And this one now, it says here, Global Alliance for Responsible Media is discontinuing after Elon Musk X filed an antitrust lawsuit against it. Wow, that's something to hide, isn't it? That fast? Like the company, for example, just decides to fold up, if that's what you want to say. So as it says here, the advertising trade group, the World Federation of Advertisers, told its members on Thursday that it was discontinuing activities for its Global Alliance for Responsible Media initiative following an antitrust lawsuit filed by Elon Musk's ex against the company earlier this week. Stephen Lork, the CEO of the WFA, wrote in an email to members seen by Business Insider that the decision was not made lightly, but that GARM is a not-for-profit organization with limited resources. Lork said that the WFA and GARM intended to contest the allegation and exit suit in court and were confident the outcomes of the case would demonstrate our full adherence to competition rules in all our activities. The news came just 2 days after X filed an antitrust suit in a Texas court which alleged that GARM's members illegally colluded to collectively withhold billions of dollars in advertising revenue from Twitter, now known as X. GARM members Unilever, Mars, CVS, and Orsted are also named defendants. Representatives for the WFA and GARM didn't immediately respond to requests for comment from Business Insider. Well, that's kind of interesting. What would you think here? Would you agree with that, I guess, narrative where they say, well, they're a nonprofit, they don't have the resources to fight them, so they better just stop this, for example? Or would you see this as a sign of, hey, someone's really going after them now, taking it seriously, so because of that, it shows signs of guilt, for example? So it'd be kind of interesting, actually, again, because they say they are still going to fight it in court, but which side would you agree with? Are they doing something shady, or are they just backing off because of resources? All right, see you guys later.